What's up, Badger fans? Another commit coming to Wisconsin. Tawee Walker, former Oklahoma running back, commits to the Badgers in the transfer portal. Interesting. Like, let's sound the cannons. I got some more vibes on this guy after watching him play a little bit.
Fire the recruiting cannons. Another one is headed to Madison on Wisconsin.
All right, so a couple things here that are interesting. The first is, what does it say about the depth chart, right? So, well, actually, let's start with Tawee Walker. So bigger, like 5'9", but physical running back, built well. I reached out to John Williams, who runs a really good Locked On Oklahoma page, who is going to know more about Tawee Walker than really anybody here. This is what he sent me. Tawee Walker is a dude. He had entered the portal after the regular season. Had he entered the portal after the regular season, but wanted to finish the year with the Sooners. Tough runner, physical, can also be used in the passing game. Became a fan favorite for how hard he runs the football and bounces off people. In the first half of the season, he looked like Oklahoma's best running back. So definitely high praise there, right? Ran for about 500 yards last year, 5 yards per carry, able to catch the ball in the backfield, runs out of a shotgun. So like familiarity with what he's going to be asked to do at Wisconsin. Not a burner like the film. He's not a 4-4 guy, but physical between the tackles. What does it mean for the depth chart? It's just, you need depth everywhere. And it's an interesting pickup. I've said several times I didn't think they needed a running back. Like, you have the three guys coming in, you got Ches coming back, you got Yak, Aker, White. What did I say on the Sebastian Cheek show, though? Right? Look at what the coaches do. And if they continue to bring in players at a spot, that probably tells you how they feel about the players that are currently at those spots. They brought in 4 running backs, three freshmen and a transfer, and they're getting Ches back. So you're losing one running back, Braylon, and you're bringing in 4. What does that tell you? It tells you that internally, and this isn't me saying anything, I'm just like, we be honest on this show. If you connect the dots, it tells you they probably aren't super high on at least what White, Aker, Yakimelli can bring next year, right? They think they need more depth. The timing on this is also super interesting, right? They probably bring in a transfer after the 3 freshmen sign, because you just got to do it that way. Yeah, so I didn't think it was a huge need, but the coaching staff obviously knows more about the roster than I do. That's not a question. And they felt like this was somebody that improves the depth. Certainly, depth anywhere helps, right? If you can make, even at a strong position or a decent position, if you can make it a little bit better, you always do that, and you always try to create more competition across the board. Running back isn't the need necessarily that defensive line or receiver are, but if you have the opportunity to make running back better, why not do it, right? It really doesn't hurt anything as long as you understand the egos you have to manage, right? You have a lot of players coming in. You have to, as a coaching staff, be able to manage those egos, right? This is an era of, you can't just bring people in and sit them anymore. So I think that's worth pointing out with the freshmen coming in. You're going to have to find ways to keep them engaged and involved, and hope that they don't get too frustrated by a transfer coming in that might get reps right away. And he's going to play. Like, you don't bring in a transfer who ran for 500 yards at Oklahoma last year to not play him. He's going to play. And I think it's important to understand that. This is from John Kottmeyer. It means Aker, Yakimelli likely gone, which is a bummer, but we got a guy who knows how to get in the end zone. Yeah, this is the hard part for me. Like, I'm a fan, and every player that comes in, I want them to do well. I want to root for them. I like Yakimelli. I like Aker, but again, they brought in 4 running backs. They didn't do that for no reason, right? And it probably does mean one of these other guys is transferring on. And this is the new college football. This is how roster churn works in 2023, right? You're constantly getting better. Players are leaving and coming and going. And this coaching staff does understand that concept. Jan Volk says, are we spending too much time on running backs when not enough on receivers? This was probably an easy get. I always look at, like, in the transfer portal, to me going to the grocery store, right? Listen, and this is True Life Stories with Ryan. That should be a show. True Life Stories with Ryan. When I go to the grocery store, I'm usually going because my wife sends me to get like chicken or napkins, or, hey, we need some seltzer. But along the way to seltzer, I get some Oreos because it's an easy grab, right? And I probably get a meat and cheese platter because it's right there. I liken getting another running back to me shopping at the grocery store. Like, the coaching staff is going to the receiver aisle. They're going to the defensive line aisle. But along the way, by the way, if you hear pounding up above me, it's my kids running around dribbling a basketball, which I'm not going to tell them not to do because they're 9 and 4-year-old boys, and I think that's awesome. So along the way to the receiver aisle, the defensive line aisle, they're walking through the running back aisle, and they're like, we could also make running back a little better on the way to trying to fill out these other positions. Again, roster construction's not done. They're going to keep building. But if you can make a position that isn't a huge need, but you can make it a little bit better, I think you do it. I think that's an easy win. And it makes the depth better. Let's keep in mind, I've made this point, and I've gotten pushback on it. I think people don't agree with me. I don't think Ches Malusi's injury prone. I know people think that's crazy because he gets hurt every year. I don't think freak injuries are injury prone. Like when somebody rolls over you and you break your leg. I think groins, hamstrings, ankles, shoulders for pitchers, elbows. I think that stuff is injury prone. But you also have to, like, we saw it this year. What happens when your running back room doesn't have the depth to compete? What happened in the Ohio State game when Braylon Allen went down? Having more depth, more bullets in the gun is a good thing. Ben Albin says Malusi Walker combo will be great. Cody Schmidt says don't love it unless they plan on running with the 3 new guys full-time next year. Running out of scholarships, need a receiver or 2. Yeah, people are going to leave after the bowl game, though, Cody. I agree with you. Like, receiver is absolutely a bigger need, Cody. I agree with that 100%. But getting this running back doesn't mean you don't get a receiver. And honestly, it could just be the math on the ledger is going to balance out, right? Let's just say hypothetically you bring in Walker at running back, and then one of the running backs transfers out, and then the ledger bounces out, but you get a little bit better at the running back spot. I think that's probably what happens here. My biggest concern, and I'm being honest, is you're bringing in 3 running backs, freshmen that I really, really like, that all kind of expect to play. And you got to balance those egos now. Like, you have to make sure that bringing in this transfer who's going to eat into the reps. Again, a transfer from Oklahoma is not coming here to not play. He's playing. If you're bringing him in, you got to make sure you don't tick off some of those young guys. Nick says weapons are weapons. And after what we watched last year, we need as many weapons as possible on the offensive side of the ball. Yep. Couldn't say that any better, Nick. John, we just offered a receiver out of James Madison. I saw that. I like his film too. I love the kid they offered out of Tufts earlier in the year that committed to Cal. They're going to keep looking for receivers. They're absolutely going to keep looking for receivers. S. Strong says we need to get a boundary receiver and do that. I think this is a home run portal class. Filling holes both sides of the ball. I think you will get a couple of these classes get smaller the next couple of years. I think so. That's a really good comment, Strong. And in terms of the classes, the transfer classes should be getting smaller the next couple of years as the high school recruiting gets better. That should be the goal. 100% agree. Also agree with you. You need a boundary receiver. I think a boundary receiver and a defensive lineman, and I would call this a really good class. If you don't pick up an impact defensive lineman in the portal, there's no way this is a home run class for me, is where I'm at. Bird Dogger, they should only address roster issues one step at a time, determine root cause. Root cause the term. I'm not reading this right. I apologize, Bird Dogger. They should only address the roster issues one step at a time, determining the root cause to address the issue. I think is what you're trying to say. Ben Albin says, got to get some interior defense linemen. Yes, 100%, 100%. Strong says Walker's going to make an NFL roster next year. I bet he's a nice change of pace back to Malusi. He's a little more powerful than Malusi, not quite as quick. Both running out of the shotgun. He runs between the tackles really well. Good nose for the end zone. Can catch the ball. I think they actually have some similarities, but I think they can definitely play together. Like, it's a good pickup, right? Like, again, my only concern with Walker is how does it impact the young guys? And you got to trust the staff to manage those egos. But he makes the depth better, and that's what you need to make it through a long season. You need depth everywhere because injury, especially at running back, you can lose 3 running backs in a game. Yeah, I mean, let's think back to Iowa. Oh gosh, what year was it? What is it? The Monte Ball year, when White got hurt, Clay got hurt, and you were down to your 3rd string running back or 4th string running back. Like, need depth everywhere. Ben Albin said could see Jake Chaney hitting the portal after the bowl game, maybe Rucci as well. Yeah, and those and others. Like, I could see lots of people hitting the portal. Steve Mitchell says chances are 1 or 2 backs of injuries that cause them to miss some time. Cream will rise to the top. Yeah. Especially at running back, you're going to lose guys. Stockpiling depth for an offense that wants to run the ball is equally important. Longo wants to run the ball a lot. You can't do that if you don't have the depth there. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. Again, I just want to do a quick show on Walker to let you know my quick thoughts on it. Again, go back to the top. I want to point out the comment I got from the Oklahoma guy because a lot of people tuned into this late. So this is reaching out to an Oklahoma guy. John Williams runs the Locked On Sooners channel. He said, because I said, hey, who's this dude that we got? What's he like? And he said, quote, Tawee Walker is a dude. He had entered the portal after the regular season, but wanted to finish the year with the Sooners. Tough runner that is physical, can also be used in the passing game. He became a fan favorite for how hard he runs the football and bounces off people. In the first half of the season, he looked like Oklahoma's best running back. That's not a bad scouting report from somebody who watched every single snap of his. So we're gonna wrap it there. I hope everyone is having an incredible weekend. We got a bunch more content coming up as always. I'm still running through our prospect recap shows, but definitely go have a show tomorrow as well. I apologize if you hear the kids in the background, but it is what it is. As one of them comes in, this is the second time this one has made an appearance on the show. So we're gonna wrap it up there. As I think my other one comes in too. We're gonna wrap it up there. Hope everyone has a great weekend on Wisconsin.
Hi.
Can one of you guys say bye?
Bye.
Okay.